analysis of the most recent CDC data available shows that firearms are the leading cause of death among children in this country, surpassing car accidents for the first time in 2020. State of Arkansas is 5th overall for firearm deaths among kids under 17 and 8th overall in total firearm fatalities per capita. The governor of that state, Asa Hutchinson, served on an NRA school safety task force in the wake of the Sandy Hook school shooting. All things I mentioned because Asa Hutchinson is here with us. Governor, good morning. Thank you for being here. Look, we got a lot of problems in this country. There's a lot of things we could talk about, but school shootings and shootings in churches and in supermarkets, they loom really large over our culture, and people are wondering, is there nothing that we can do to stop them? You said Sunday there might be a bipartisan group of governors who can look at solutions. What might those solutions be?
Well, first of all, it's good to be with you, and there's probably not a more important topic than the safety of our children at schools. We've done a lot in Arkansas. Back in 2018, we had a school safety commission that made recommendations on enhancing the security of our schools. We've made a lot of progress in that area, but we're a great nation, and we have to protect our children at school. We send billions of dollars that I support to Ukraine. We can also put in the money that's necessary to protect our schools and to protect our children there. That, to me, is the focal point of the conversation. I know that there is another side of that, which is mental health and how we're dealing with that in our schools and increasing direct counseling. But there's also the aspect of what do we do about an 18-year-old being able to go out and buy an AR-15 that does that kind of damage at the school? And I've simply said that that's a fair conversation to have. That's, in Arkansas and in my thought in life is that I fully support the Second Amendment, but we also can legitimately look at what the senators are considering, and I applaud them to having a bipartisan group that looks at what can we agree upon. And I think we can have a conversation about whether there ought to be a age 21 requirement to acquire one of these AR-15 military-style weapons.
It says a lot about the state of our politics. It's a big move to have a conversation, right? I know you feel the same way, Gayle.
I do, and I keep thinking when we talk about the Second Amendment, I still say they were talking about muskets, Governor. They were not talking about the firepower that we have today. And don't we have to make adjustments for that? It seems that we all love children. We all agree that this is terrible. We wring our hands and say how horrible it is till the next one happens, and it will happen again. Why is it so difficult to get this right? Why is it so hard to have the uncomfortable conversation that nobody should have an assault rifle unless you are a trained professional and you're on a battlefield? Why can't we just at least come to terms with that? I don't understand it.
Well, I think that we should not restrict the type of weapon for those that are over 21. I mean, we do. I was a former United States attorney. I've prosecuted people for firearms violation. They improperly acquire them. We don't allow citizens to have grenades also.
Exactly.
And so there are limits on the weaponry that civilians can have. But we really do not want to take away the right of our citizens to protect themselves, to enjoy it, whether it is a type of gun that is a semi-automatic. We have those, and it's just the age limit between 18 and 21 that I think is a fair part of the debate. I think we need to look at that more deeply, and the senators are looking at background checks and how we can expand those, perhaps. But I think this is the conversation about whether you ought to be 21 to acquire one of these.
Well, nobody wants to take weapons from responsible gun owners. That's never the debate. I'm still hung up about these assault rifles that cause tremendous damage, as you well know. I'm not telling you something you don't know. And that we just continue to allow this to happen while we profess our love for children. I had one mother that says to me, we are sleeping with our guns and crying over our guns and letting our children die.
It's a high cost for this absolute freedom you're talking about.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
And is it worth that?
America is not going to be Europe. We're not going to have the gun restrictions that even Canada is looking at. And, in Arkansas...
We're the only country where this happens, though.
Right. And listen,
where this happens.
We understand that this is a great country.
Yes.
We can all agree with you.
Yes,
but
yes,
I feel
yes.
like we are failing. We're failing our people. We're failing our kids. And you mentioned mental health. We're not being dismissive of that. We're talking about these assault rifles. But why is it that it happens so much more often here in the United States versus other places? There's mental health issues in other countries. So doesn't it boil down to taking these types of weapons off the streets and out of the hands of individuals that want to do damage?
Well, the criminals are going to get those. I think what you've got to look at are those with mental health issues, and that's a focal point. We want to keep them out of the hands of those that can do this kind of harm. And then, secondly, again, I think you have to look at the level of maturity whenever you have a semi-automatic that can do the damage that we see with the AR-15 style weapon. And so we have to be careful about this conversation. One constancy, though, is we can protect our children with better security in the schools. It did not work in Uvalde. We can improve that. We can invest in that. And that's an important part of it as well. So I applaud the senators that have all of this on the table. And we have to get away from being so divided and say, is there something we can agree upon? It's going to be narrow. It's going to be focused. But the question is, will it make a difference?
But, Governor, it's not just schools. It's concerts, churches, festivals. There was a shooting at a car show in Arkansas. This isn't just about shootings in schools. Mass shootings happen everywhere in the United States.
Sure, and the private sector is taking steps. You go into, a shopping center, they have security guards there. We're protecting our private sector venues. Well, let's protect in an equal way and even a more important way our schools.
Yeah.
And to me, while that might not solve what some want to do with more gun control, it does protect our citizens, and that's something that is absolutely essential.
Yeah, it is a high cost, again, to freedom, though. You go to the mall, you see armed guards. You go to school, you see armed guards.
Right.
That's a different kind of society.
We thank you for having the
We're running out of time.
conversation.
Thank you.
We do really appreciate it.
We could talk to you all day long.
Yeah, we could.
Thank you.